New day, it's a new stream. Hello, everybody. It's Brian for Breaking Down Security, or BreakSec, if you will. So, I hope you've had a good week. I'm standing up. I went to see the vascular doctor yesterday because for about the past 8 months, I've had a swelling in one of my legs that may or may not have been an edema or may not have been a blood clot or vascular insufficiency, as the doctor likes to say. And the vascular doctor, well, let me put it this way, it took me longer to drive down to the doctor's office than it took for the doctor to look at me and go, I don't think it's an issue, at least not a vascular one. So I'm back to square one on that, but that's why I wasn't here yesterday, so I apologize for not being here yesterday. It was, it's interesting getting these things diagnosed. It's very much like, I don't know, I don't want to use security metaphors, but when you're trying to figure out how to, get through something, it's like I'm going to the doctor is telling me one thing. Oh, you need to go talk to these people. I go talk to this doctor. Yeah, it's not this thing. It could be a cyst on one of your tendons because of an injury, an old injury or what have you. So was interesting discussion with the doctor yesterday. She did very well. I met the NP, the nurse practitioner, and the nurse, and so that's where I'm at right now. But so far I'm still standing. I actually ran a 5K today. Let me see, what did I run it in today? Let me see. I'm still standing better than I ever did. Don't want to get hit by DRM. So yeah, 5.02 kilometers. And I did it in 27 minutes, 56 seconds. So that's pretty good. Averaged 5 minutes, 33 seconds per kilometer. Very nice. Oh, good. And my symmetry's back. So my app gives me specific metrics. I know you're like, I don't give a shit. This is, whatever. Interesting why the Streambot isn't necessarily working, but it is what it is. So it gives you advanced running metrics if you run more than 20 minutes. And one of them is asymmetry, contact time, regularity, which I score fairly good on. I guess it's, are you marching? When you're running, is it a rhythm, or is it like, you're skipping and hopping and bouncing around and shit? Vertical, so I'm assuming how high you rise when you're doing that, and stiffness. Now, the problem is I'm not a professional runner, so I've had to work on my asymmetry recently because that was actually in the red area the last time. So again, I know you're all are just enthused about this. Yeah, so it's definitely improved. So I don't know what asymmetry exactly does, but the problem is I don't know how to fix those things. Ideally, I'd love to be all blue instead of like blue and green, but it is what it is. I figure I'm doing okay if I'm able to get out there and bust out a 5K in less than 30 minutes. So today was one of the fastest times I've ran in over a year. So pre-pandemic, I actually broke a 5-minute kilometer, which wasn't bad. And that was in Seattle, and it was a fairly cool day. So anyway, so so the stream title is Change Gonna Come, IoT torque wrench issues, and paying the ransomware piper. So I was futzing around on the internet today, as I'm wont to do. I was actually talking to Beta Wolf earlier about some of the logos, because he was like, hey, how'd you get your logo? So I sent him the thing, which is this link here, for those of you who are interested. So yes, our logo is AI powered. Apologies if you find issues with that. We got burned the last time on our logo. We paid $500 for somebody to give us fucking clip art. So, hey, welcome, Falejo69. Don't know what that is. Hopefully you're not a bot, because I'm going to ban the fuck out of you if that's the case. But welcome anyway. If you're a legit person, appreciate you for coming and hanging out here. We've almost defeated our last boss here, which is coming up in about another 300 or so posts. Cool. All right, cool. Sometimes we get people who just come in and want to just bot the hell out of us. So, but yeah, so I was looking around the internet and there was a couple things that came up today. It was kind of interesting. So there was a story. Don't know if you saw it. It kind of made news about, let me go pull that up. The MAX 737-9 accident. So, there we go. All right. So this is NBC News. Of course, I know I will get that to you all in a second here. Let me change my, all right. So, panel detached from the Alaska Airlines flight, 737 MAX 9, MAX 8s have, they've had a few issues. The engine issues, of course, which brought down a couple planes into the ocean and caused accidents. This latest one was Alaska Airlines, the one of the back areas of the plane, which normally during construction is a door. When completed, that door becomes no longer a door and it's a wall, it's a window. And during the flight of this Alaska Airlines flight, about 10 minutes in, about 16,000 feet, boom, this thing blows out. And thankfully, nobody was injured. Nobody was sucked out. Some poor bastard lost his t-shirt, literally ripped off his body, which tells you just how powerful decompression is in this case. Somebody had suggested on another news article I read that if this had happened at 40,000 feet, nobody would have survived. So it would have been a really, really bad shit. But thankfully, this was at 16,000 feet. They were able to get down low enough. So they're investigating these things. And there was a follow-on story finding where United Airlines, another airline here, was inspecting the same door/wall now and was finding loose bolts. So United, I just searched United and loose bolts. So, MAX 9, United Airlines is finding loose bolts in jet inspections themselves because they grounded the entire fleet again. And they said bolts in need of additional tightening have been found during inspections of the MAX 9s. And they said installation issues to door plugs need to be remedied before the aircraft could return to service. So either the bolts weren't tightened enough or torqued enough that during operation of the flight, they popped loose, or as vibrations happen with thousands and thousands of hours of plane operation, things get loose. That kind of thing. It's like when I was running. When I first start running, I'm all a little, tight, and things aren't moving. But as I loosen up, as I warm up, things start to lubricate and start to move a little easier. So they said the door plug is a piece of fuselage with a window that fills the space where an emergency exit would be in certain configurations. Hey, Age, the front didn't fall off. Yeah, I don't know what certain configuration they're talking about is, but yeah, they do say that the space where the emergency exit door would be was bad. So, a long story here. There was a third story that came out today about an IoT device, a vulnerability found in torque wrenches from a company called Bosch. Hey, Beta Wolf. So Bosch, which makes an IoT connected or Wi-Fi connected torque wrench. This came out today, by the way. You can go and read this up, but it was kind of an interesting discussion. Yeah, just a small company, a small mom and pop shop called Bosch found several vulnerabilities in this German company's tooling. And what makes the vulnerabilities interesting is that the threat actors have the ability to implant ransomware on the device, which can lead to product line stoppages, which is possible because you can't use the wrench to torque nuts and bolts. Then that happens. And it said further, they say it allows threat actors to undetectably hijack tightening programs for what they call nut runners making it possible to introduce suboptimal tightening or cause damage due to excessive tightening. Crazy, right? So I read this story, and the first thing I thought of was, well, shit, what if that happened to the door bolts on the 737 MAX? Now, in this case, as the title of the article says, it's popular with car makers. Great. As we know, yeah, exactly. This is next level Stuxnet shit, right? In this case, with Stuxnet, it was the centrifuges were told to spin a little faster or a little slower than what they should have, which introduced harmonic vibration or instability in the configuration. Yes, digital warhead. I understand. As I mentioned about 5 to 7 minutes ago, I had a doctor's appointment, so could not come in today to work to stream. So I'm making up for it by talking today. So definitely a supply chain issue because one, it allowed the ability for hackers or threat actors to potentially create suboptimal tightening or over tightening, excessive over tightening. They don't say by how much, but if you can do it by 10%, you could do it by 40%, or you could under tighten by 30% or something like that. Supply chain issue here on Twitch, only one Berber. Yeah, exactly, Buddha Wolf. So it was just interesting to see these. They've published multiple advisories. So you can go in here to see these different CVEs for this, 2023, 48. So yeah, this allows an unauthenticated remote attacker to download arbitrary files in all paths of the system under the context of application OS user via a crafted HTTP request. Again, this is one of those things where somebody's like, it's a torque wrench. Who's going to hack a torque wrench? It looks like they're using HTTP. They're using God knows what kind of Wi-Fi connection. And this is a QA or QC thing, right? Where it's like, hey, I torqued it according to what the torque wrench said. Well, you have to trust the torque wrench. And now trust has been damaged in the torque wrench. Can we talk about real logical motives for threat actors on this one? It's so convoluted. Well, age, I mean, so let's, the fact that, some of this might be stun hacking, right? Shorting stocks, that would be interesting if it led to loss of life, though. I mean, for Boeing, or, well, to be fair, the stock is down, I think. Let's go look and see Boeing stock. It's actually up $2.08 today. So apparently didn't hurt it too much, right? It's up 227. So, let's see, what's the 5-day average? Oh, yeah. So you can definitely tell there was a little bit of issue there post accident. So 248, it's down to 228. So it lost 20%, right? And now it's, still trying to recover after so many days. But yeah, it did take a shit from about 250 to 228. So I don't want to say, capitalize on a crisis or a disaster, but if you wanted to buy Boeing stock, you probably could. Do they do dividends? Oh, let me go see. Okay, yeah, it looks like they don't do dividends. So I tend to shy away from things that don't do dividends, but they've historically been going up regularly since, except for this little hiccup they've had. So yeah, it's thank you, Stream Elements, for being a little late to the game. But yeah. I tend to invest in stocks that, do dividends, like Ford or, Iron Mountain, those kinds of folks. It's completely, my choice. But it's interesting, that supply chain thing, like age, how would you time that, though? Just hack a bunch of wrenches and cross your fingers. Oh, yeah. You're right. It would definitely have to. There's definitely some convoluted bits there, right? And you mentioned Stuxnet age. Let me see. Where's there it is. Let me see, Stuxnet. There was actually an update about that just recently as well. Let me see, where is it? Dutchman. Here we go. Dutchman or Dutchman. So this was an update to Stuxnet where they said, a person by the name of Eric von Saben infiltrated an Iranian nuclear complex, released the infamous Stuxnet virus. I don't know if he actually knew he was doing that, but it appears that he delivered a pump of some kind, a water pump of some sort. Is this the right article? Let me see. Yeah, so it caused a number of centrifuges to break down, delaying the nuclear program by several years. He infiltrated. So they're saying he was a Dutch spy. I don't know, but the big thing about this article was that the Dutch intelligence agencies didn't know it was happening. So it's kind of interesting. But Age, to your point, yeah, I don't know. Usually shorting stock is a short-term thing. So, I would hope that we didn't find out that it was, similar type of torque wrenches, or, if it was just poor QA or QC that caused the accident where they weren't checking that, that would make sense. So, yeah. But yeah, here it's an interesting follow-on to what happened with Stuxnet several years ago. Oh, look, he already did business with Iran. He was married to an Iranian woman with family in the country, made him ideal for the mission. Okay. Yeah, it was likely in a water pump. The virus was likely in a water pump that von Saben had installed there. So, yeah, he may or may not have known about it. He may have been, paid off or what have you. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what. What would be gained by that. But any tools that do these kinds of things, because we have trust in our tools, right? We trust that they're going to work properly. And if you can do something like this, where it's like you can under torque something by 20% or 30%, it could be, that people didn't know. And it depends on where this was introduced at. Was it introduced at Bosch? Was it introduced at Boeing? Where was it and when was it introduced? Because if it was introduced at Bosch, the entire fleet of nut runners could be... sorry, nut runners just gets me. I tried not to, but... the S in IoT stands for that is apt in some cases, but it's just one of those, I don't know, what is it, cognitive dissonance, where it's like, who wants to attack who wants to hack who would be shitty enough to attack a hospital, where we found that that's definitely a thing that happens. You've got IoT devices, or you got these nut runners that who would attack that thing? Why would you want to do that? It's in the name of safety or what have you. And, some of these hackers take planes too. So, it would suck if they hacked the nut runner that was, drilling the, hooking the thing up, with the emergency exit, the nuts on the door of the plane that they had, and they get sucked out. So it would be weird. You wouldn't download a torque wrench, would you? You download malicious packages all the time. Oh, speaking of malicious packages, man, I'm just like bouncing from one thing to another. Install everything module npm. So this happened. Where was the news? Apparently somebody was stupid and made a proof of concept of something called the everything package, which if you decided you wanted to be cute and say, npm install everything, it literally would. All 2 million packages. I read this one the other day. I was like, oh my God. One, somebody was like, oh, proof of concept or whatever. It was a simple prank, ended up having bigger repercussions for all authors across the npm ecosystem. Installing everything could have caused your computer to fall short of storage space and slow down, but the package's mere existence on npmjs.com prevents authors unrelated to the package whatsoever to unpublish packages from the world's largest software registry. Everything package has 5 sub-packages published under the @everything scope. So if you were dumb enough to say npm install everything on your computer, you're going to grab, well, everything. But yeah, you couldn't unregister things. So now npm has to figure out how to stop things like this. And it says each of these sub packages, or chunks as the author calls them, ultimately includes about 800 npm projects as their dependency. And then, they have 5, they tell 2 friends and they tell 2 friends and so on and so on. And then just snowballs out of, So considering the author of everything published 3,000 plus such packages or chunks with each with hundreds of dependencies, a single npm will start resolving what's referred to as transitive dependencies and end up downloading millions of packages. So yeah, Patrick JS, who's a jackass, there he is. You can send your hate to him if somebody was stupid enough in your organization to, haha, npm install everything. You can thank Patrick JS for that. Curious. He was curious, right? So, he apologized. Oh, that's good. I'm glad he apologized. He's, feels bad, right? Right. Yeah. So, I apologize for any difficulties this package caused. Yeah. So, yeah, this is, the policy shift follows the left pad incident where we had those kinds of issues. So, ironically, this policy also left Patrick JS, author of everything, unable to easily remove his own prank packages given the extensive long dependency chain he set up. Yeah, good times. So, probably won't be the last time we see something like that, but it does come to mind where, funny little haha jokes can actually screw up people's lives. So, yeah, definitely dependency hell. But apparently this is not the first time something like this happened. I think it happened a few years ago. Did that article mention that? I want to say that this happened 3-4 years ago when there were far less packages in the registry, except they didn't take steps to address it then. So, yeah, good times. Yeah. Anyway, so, let me see. SEC Twitter handle. So, no, not the Southeastern Conference. So apparently, this. So I don't understand this. If anybody can help me explain this, I'm all ears. But it said the Bitcoin price jumped after hackers hijacked the SEC, which is the Securities and Exchange Commission's Twitter account. Again, so unlike the torque wrench making the connection to the loose bolts in the airplane fuselage, I don't understand the correlation between Twitter's handle being hacked, or SEC's handle being hacked, and a bump of Bitcoin. So feel free to lighten me, but it's like, all they have here, they don't even have, I don't think the news agencies even can understand why that would be a thing, other than, SEC's about to make some decisions about FTEs in the next few days. But yeah, so somebody had said that the SEC account didn't have two-factor auth, which, given the complex environment of 2FA, if you have more than one person, tweeting or Xing, I don't know, Xing, crossing, Xing, I don't know. But sometimes it's not easy for an account being ran by multiple people to enable 2FA, because you would have to be able to connect everybody's phones. If you got 2FA is great, except when you have to share the key or share the auth mechanism with those people. So apparently it was hijacked for about 30 minutes. So, but yeah, they showed the Bitcoin price here shot up before going back down. So it shot up from about $2,000 before it went back down to what it was before. So let's see if let's see if somebody more versed with this will give us some answers. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and it seems like that this is an ongoing campaign. So last week, Mandiant, of course, got owned. And they were sending out cryptocurrency spam that way. And yeah, so on the AP account in 2013. But yeah, it's interesting. Stocks and trading things react violently to what seems to be innocuous things. So yeah. The funny thing is, if you traded and after the SEC account came back online, I believe it actually dropped down lower than what it was when it was trading before the SEC was hit. And this says it lost about $500 of value after it after the stock went down. So yeah. It says they're eagerly awaiting news of whether the SEC will approve Bitcoin ETFs. Okay, so again, which is expected to cause a flood of purchases in digital currency, driving up the price. Yeah, so yeah, I can't begin to understand Bitcoin people, so I don't understand why the hacking of an account would make the price fluctuate like that. But in the vast scheme of things, $2,000 when it was 46,000. It's not even 10%, so 5% up or down. So, and then it lost like 6 to 7%. No, 6% probably. So, yeah, it's interesting. I get one, correlation there. I don't get the other correlation. So, yeah, there's a number of vulnerabilities having to deal with this Netrunner thing. So. Did it only jump after it was known to be hacked? Yes, yes. That's the way I understand it here. Once it was hacked, it went up. So, yeah, I don't. I'm assuming it could be that while the account was hacked, the SEC said, "Hey, let's all jump on the Bitcoin bandwagon," and people who follow the SEC were like, "Oh, well, if the SEC said it was cool, we should probably go ahead and do that." Maybe it was that kind of simple social engineering tactic where it was like, oh well, if SEC's cool with it, let's go ahead and get on it. And then it was like, oh wait, that was just they were hacked. Okay, let me sell this shit real quick before I lose all my money, and then it drops down lower. So I don't know. That may be the only reason, Faliho, that it caused that spike. So. Which is, I didn't know about it until it had already passed. So I don't have it anyway. Hey, Fix It, what's up? Rich old people fighting tooth and nail to be the only rich old people. That's true. I don't see rich old people buying Bitcoin though. I think being rich and having a lot of disposable income as a young person and understanding what that is, I think rich old people probably like the stock market better from a, hey, this is a legitimate company versus, hey, this is fake coin. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So yeah. Yeah, so apparently today they were going to make some influential decision. Oh, did they make any influential decisions? Let's go see. SEC, Bitcoin, FTEs. Okay, so according to this, SEC attaches a string to Bitcoin ETFs. So ETFs, for those of you who are unaware, I think it's called electronically traded funds. Exchange traded funds. Okay, so they're, I asked my Northwestern Mutual guy who I have my retirement through. I was like, hey, or is my mutual fund or any of the ETF stuff, because there's like, you have low risk, medium risk, high risk, and then like Bitcoin, right? So, the low risk stuff is like municipal bonds and treasury bonds and stuff that, you'll get a flat, 2 to 3% on the reg. and then you have, your mid stuff, and you'll have, which, is a little, it fluctuates. So it's like, 10, 20 to 30% bonds, and then it's, some small caps, and, the high risk stuff is like, maybe some startups, or, the tech sector, which tends to fluctuate a little bit. And then you have, your speculative things like, trying to find, uranium on the moon or something like that. And so I asked him, I was like, hey, are any of these involved with Bitcoin or, cryptocurrencies or whatever? Do you deal with that kind of stuff? Because I just wanted to ask him out of, I'm not interested in hooking up with these, but saffron futures, frozen concentrated orange juice futures. Yeah. All that. So, but apparently now, they're going to, ETFs are coming to the US in 2024, and by all indications, the first ones will hit sometime mid to late January. Okay, so if you've got a finance guy or person, this is breaking down finance. I know fuck all. I'm one of those people that I have an E-Trade account, and my Northwestern Mutual guy was like, well, what do you do with that? And I was like, well, I buy stock that I like, and I tend to buy ones that are, have dividends that come to them. So I have I have some Qualcomm stock from like 15 years ago that I continually get dividends for. I've got some Microsoft stuff. I just bought Ford. And then I have some stuff that probably won't go anywhere, like Lumen is just hot garbage right now. But I bought them on the cheap with the idea that, maybe they'll come back out of it. But they're hot garbage right now. Lumen, the same people who own Lumen Field in Seattle, they're Beta Wolf, by the way. So, but it's like, they're hot garbage. I'm not even telling you to invest in them. They're super low. They were a lot better at one time, but something happened and there was some, mismanagement of funds. So now they've kind of taken a shit, but I hope one day they'll go back up to the 10 or 15 that, I'll make some money. But yeah, so I have I don't know, my portfolio is anywhere between, and this is after about 15 years of working on E-Trade, is anywhere between $80,000 to $130,000, depending on how well the stock market's doing. But humble brag. I just buy a little bit at a time. I'm not buying thousands of shares. It's like I bought 75 shares of Qualcomm stock or something like that. Again, I'm not, big day trader types, but I was looking at the open wall discussion here. So I was looking at open wall. I like going to open wall for interesting posts about, and discussion about vulnerabilities that come out. Sometimes things will post up on open wall and similar mailing lists before the media gets their spin upon them. So I was, looking at, some stuff from December that had been announced. There's, talking about the Struts vulnerability, some very smart people on these lists of talking about vulnerabilities and those kinds of issues. And sometimes you find stuff, it's like, oh, that hasn't been officially announced yet. There's a CVE for it, but apparently it's not important enough to hit the media front door yet. So, like if you use Apache Stream Park, right? Authenticated users could trigger a SQL injection kind of thing. So, in learning Yara rules, I was trying to find some vulnerabilities that I could use where I'd be like, okay, I can, detect that. And I was talking to some of my detection friends to see about how to do, JQ. So there you go. There's a JQ vulnerability, a heap overflow in JQ. So, and they give you links to your GitHub commits, so you can go in and look at the code if you really wanted to, see what happened here. So anything blue, the way I'm reading this is anything in the blue section is fixing the stack buffer overflow. If there's zero payload. So this is the code that's being used to fix it. Here's another part of it, another bit here. Again, this is all C code, so you'd have, I'd have to go back through and understand what that is. But the idea would be using these fixes. If you can't easily patch, you would use a YAR rule potentially to, oh wait, yeah, you'd use a YAR rule to go, okay, I'm going to look through my code repos. Do I have examples of, deck compare res or something like that? And I would have to go and look through those. You could either I hope I'm not wrong on this, but that's the way I understand it. I can create rules that would go through all of my code repos, and if I have jv.c in there, it's going to go and look through and it's go, oh, you have a vulnerability here because I detected the use of this version of code because this doesn't exist anymore. Or you'd have to find something that's a little more useful. So instead of deck number compare, they just have deck number, but and if you want to increase your your probability of it being found, you'd want to add other parts of it, like if it equals this and this and this, and if you're in sh test and you see this, you don't see this or something like that. That's what I'm looking at. So but there was a couple of vulnerabilities in like OpenSSH that came up that I was like, oh, interesting. So where is that? Is that it? No, wait a minute. I already. One sec. Scroll. Yeah, here we go. So there's a paper that's going to be or was published at Asia CCS 24 that describes a vulnerability where stack or register variables can be flipped via fault injection, affecting execution flow in security sensitive code. So, if you have this kind of code where your, integer auth equals 0, and so the idea is that any bit can be flipped with auth and it will result in a misauthentication. So this, the white paper proves that this is a vulnerability in OpenSSH, OpenSSL, MySQL, and sudo, which that sounds like a problem, right? So everybody uses OpenSSH, everyone uses OpenSSL. Anybody who uses Linux uses sudo, and a lot of people use MySQL, right? So, these would be the kinds of things you might want to be able to, run through the code and look for. And of course, they have a commit here where you can go look at the different code that's being used. So this code's going to be taken out. So if int matched equals 0, integers returned, that's added. So there's some additional bits that have to be added here, like a void instead of just regularly doing a strl copy kind of thing. See, this is why I would want to learn C code, because for OpenWall, when they go, oh well, here's some kind of old ass C code from sudo, or what was the other one that I'd seen? By the way, here's, if you want to poke around inside of GitHub or those kinds of things, you can take a look at that. Boink. By the way, I want to thank Digital Warhead. If you're watching, sorry, I had no control over what Twitter did for your subscription streak. Sorry that it went away. I love you, man. Thank you for your support. And I'd like to, let's, Blue Scuddy. Blue Scuddy. It was interesting. I saw them streaming last night, or the other night. And so Monk Duck, Hack, Stream, Inge, and DJ Doey, thank you all for following. I appreciate that. And yeah, so calm like an S-bomb, rage against the machine. It's funny. I was poking around on Docker the other day. Oh, Kriznap. Oh, please don't blow me up. Please don't blow me up. Okay. One of the things that the Docker desktop, which is Docker, what is I think Docker CE now has, is where is that? Where is that? Let me window capture, Docker. There we go. So they have in their content, no, that's not it. One of their settings, I think, shows that you can set up, I don't have anything special in here. I literally just installed this today. Where is it? Docker, Kubernetes, software updates, features and development. They have WASM now using Containerd for storing image. I turned all that shit on. I don't know if it's actually going to be any good. Where is it? There was something about SBOMs. Here it is, SBOM indexing. They now have SBOM indexing for Docker, which I found quite interesting. I looked at Podman. The only problem I had with Podman is it's apparently owned by, I didn't want to download it. Shit. It's owned by Red Hat, which there was a couple of things that, oh, yes, let me go pull that up. There was a couple of articles I posted up in our Slack. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, that one too. Let's go look at that one. Here we go. And then doink, and then doink. I've been busy. Oh, yes, another one, yes. So it's not all security news. If anybody's like, oh my shit, he's talking about security news again, I'm trying to expand my horizons here. So, oh wait, let me kill the where is it, Docker? It is, okay. So I tried using Gentoo Linux for a long time. Yeah, sorry, Beta Wolf. I just hit it from the desktop, but I just wanted to show you the Docker now has, apparently there's an option for SBOM, so software bill of materials, which allows you to, when you're packaging things, ideally, allows you to have an inventory of what is actually being packaged, or what's in your Docker, so that you can keep track of those things, which is becoming more and more prevalent. The government's asking for that kind of stuff now. So if you have a solution that you're building and it uses Docker, that's a nice, easy way of inventorying what kind of shite you might have in your environment. So, so the one thing that got me is that, so Gentoo, which I've always known as kind of the min-maxer Linux, where everything is built from source, and you're not cool if you don't build your kernel from source and what have you. They now have precompiled libraries for Gentoo. I don't use Gentoo. I tend to fluctuate between Ubuntu and Debian. I'm actually back on Debian now. You have an intended for certain audiences banner? Oh, yeah, I did. I don't know when did that banner come up? Is it on there right now? I realized when I was doing the stream last Sunday with Miss Berlin and Mr. Betcher, I might have dropped a few F-bombs, might have dropped a motherfucker. So I've added the significant profanity and vulgarity, just in case there's young ears on there. So, oh, it's on the top left. Okay. If it's no age, I'm in here swearing like a sailor too, so it's all good. I was a sailor at one. Well, I was an airman anyway, but so it's kind of cool that there's binaries now for Gentoo Linux. So I'm wondering if it's an adoption kind of thing. But yeah, they posted this up on 29. You probably all know Gentoo is your favorite source-based distro. Did you know that our package manager Portage already for years had support for binary packages, and that source and binary packages can be freely mixed? So yeah, I don't know why that was such a big deal for the reg, but I believe the person actually said, where was that? Where was that? Oh, in news so unexpected that the Reg Foz desk originally thought it was an oddly timed April Fool's prank. Gentoo project revealed the move just before end of December. So it sounds like it wasn't new. It's just people who don't use Gentoo all the time didn't know that. So. Yeah, so Age of Music, I didn't have a typical Navy career myself. I spent like 2 weeks on a ship out of 7 years. So thank you, Age. I appreciate that. I spent like 2 weeks on a ship, the John C. Stennis. I think we circled a couple times in the SoCal op area down here. And oh, well, thank you for your service there, Age. It was always choose your rate, choose your fate for me. So when I read the job description of clean office-like environment, I was sold on being an orographer's mate. So, yeah. But yeah, so if you want to use packages in Gentoo, that is definitely an option. So I mopped floors too. I mopped floors as well. Did a poor job of it. It was one of those things they didn't teach you. They expected you to kind of know it, and I was like, okay. But I could never get a P-way. I could never wax a P-way or mop a P-way without leaving some kind of streaks, which tended to make people unhappy. It wasn't I was wasting time. It was just, I didn't grow up mopping floors, so you just keep doing it until it didn't have any streaks in it. But yeah, I stripped and mopped and waxed several P-ways. Yeah, really good use of my time, by the way. So it was actually kind of therapeutic. It was like I could get inside my own head and just kind of do things. That's probably why I ended up with streaks and really not good quality waxing of the P-ways. So, but yeah, so the reg is like they're precompiled libraries are restricted to core OS and receive weekly updates. It's entirely reasonable to focus on the first two CPUs that are most widely used. Irony is that people on older, slower machines such as Power Macs or x86-32 will suffer for the most from slower installation times. So, yeah. The Navy, your mama never taught you how to mop. My mama didn't like to mop, y'all. So no, it didn't happen. So. Yeah, I saw that too. I don't understand JD1, to be honest. There was definitely Jonathan Scott. Yeah, he made the news too. Apparently that was the news article that I had seen. Yeah, so they actually had to put out a. Yeah, they actually had to put out a. They put this out on Twitter, and it was like they've taken. I don't know what a FARA is. FARA registration. It's a foreign agent request, something like that. I don't know what FARA is. Foreign Agents Registration Act. Okay, there you go. So to act, I guess, on their behalf as a foreign agent. So at some point, somebody named Jonathan Scott or JD1, as everybody on Twitter knows, claimed to be a foreign agent. Now, JD1 has not blocked me yet because I haven't actually made any comments to him. I think it's probably a safer bet to let other people rock that particular boat and poke holes in it. Yeah, it's so random, right? Rwanda, yeah, they yeah, disavowed on a weekend. Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, and from what I saw on JD1's Twitter feed, anybody can register anybody as a FARA, a foreign agent. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I've never tried to register as a foreign agent acting on behalf of anybody. Not that I would. But yeah, it's just really weird. And there's a lot of weird people and weird things that happen in our industry. I imagine there's not PMs out there that get things tweeted out about them from national police organizations. Secretly an agent of China. I don't know. And yeah, some people make their own bet. I'm just glad I'm not JD1 in this case. So, and I call him JD1 because his Twitter handle is Jonathan Data 1. So, but yeah, yeah, it's just a really odd thing. So I've never followed that guy. His entertainment seems to creep into corner. Yeah, there's a lot of folks who just like to, I don't want to say pile on, but he probably has earned his ass whooping on a regular basis here. Yeah, I don't know. Now, apparently he's a legitimate person, Beta Wolf. Yeah, I mean, even Nickelback is like, hey, I'm glad I'm not JD1. So, what do you mean, Beta Wolf? Wait, what? You mean Nickelback hate? That's an old meme. That's an old meme. I don't know why people hate on Nickelback. I listen to music. You're gonna find that Yeah, he's a real person. He's a real person. Jonathan Scott. Not him. That's one of the brothers who do things. Let me see. I don't know if anybody's actually posted a picture of him. He does a really good job. I think he might be on LinkedIn, but here's a yeah. I mean, here's a list of things that this person did. You know, just trying to keep up with him. This is from 2022, so there's been more shit since. You know, in this respect. So, also, I just read this, so you know. It all started with some white paper that he posted about some conspiracy theories. Yeah, here you go. Here's what he looked like at one time. You can actually see him right there. I believe he actually exists. Yeah. I mean, it'd be a great play if somebody actually made him up and he, you know, this is all a drama for everybody's benefit. I don't know. There's always been people like that. There's the Greg D. Evanses of the world. There's, you know, JD1. There was a guy down in Australia that, you know, stylized himself as like the hacker to the stars or something. There's always, I don't want to call them charlatans because it probably makes, you know, it's not good for charlatans, but they overplay their hand, you know, or they, you know, they have a moment of, you know, something and they maybe they start believing too much in themselves or something. I don't know, but Ken M. Oh, that sounds familiar. Yeah. But yeah, Greg D. Evans was another one. Anybody on what was it? The infosec wall of shame. What was it? Forget. Yeah. I mean, we've seen social engineering before. I mean, Miss Berlin tells me that there's somebody out there who actually runs a legitimate fake company with employees that don't even know they work for a fake company. I have yet to actually interact with that person, but from what I understand, there's a fake company where they actually have real employees that don't realize they're working for a fake company. And it's not the Hadnaggies of the world, it's somebody else. But yeah, it's really weird. So I forget what the name of that, attrition.org has their wall of like not good people. So yeah, it's a good site. Yeah, age. Yeah, you could submit a fake resume or what have you. I don't know if it's still going on or not. It's been a few years since I talked to Miss Berlin about it, but yeah, she was telling me that somebody she knows does that. So, but yeah, there's they have where's their wall of shame at? I thought they had a wall of shame. There we go. Yeah, wall of shame companies that have, and they haven't updated this in a few years, so it might have become stale. But yeah. Charlatans, there we go. Charlatans, there we go. Frank, yeah, Walter O'Brien. Here's Greg D. Evans. Simon Smith. Simon Smith is the one from Australia I was thinking of. Yeah, there's a lot of folks like that. So Kim Schmitz, yeah. Oh, interesting. Ira Winkler's on here. Okay. Yeah, and of course they have all the you know. So, yeah, you can go check that out in your off time. But yeah, attrition.org is a good one. Fitting that Catch Me If You Can isn't up on the top. Yeah. Or the guys who do Scorpion. I think the Scorpion, they were Scorpion. The TV show was based on like somebody's real life events or something like that. I think let's see, very loosely based on the life of executive producer and self-proclaimed computer expert Walter O'Brien. Wait a minute. He's on the list, isn't he? He's on the list, isn't he? There he is. Yeah. There you go. So yeah. Yeah, so he's, got a lot of stuff, including some, YouTube channels and a brief video exposing some of his claims. So, but yeah, so he got his own TV show for a while. So he's laughing all the way to the bank because he rich. So, and he apparently, I think, yeah, so he had enough episodes to make it into syndication. So, it's on, Fubo TV and those things. So he's laughing all the way to the bank. But yeah, that's, it ended in 2018. So, yep. Oh, genius IQ of 197. Wow, he used his own name in there. But yeah, so, let me get rid of that there. So, let's see what, one second. I'm getting pinged on work Slack. Or I'm getting pinged on work Slack. Talk amongst yourselves. The chickpeas, neither a chick nor a pea, discuss. Okay. Okay. So one of the other things that came up that I saw today on the reg was, be honest, would you pay off a ransomware crew? And this is a video. I was going to play the video while we were doing this, so I thought if we had enough time to do so. But there's a 16-minute video with these different reporters from the reg talking about some of the new stuff that's happened. I don't know, Beta Wolf, if you're still on. They talked about, I think, Seattle Cancer Alliance or Seattle Cancer Center, one of the cancer hospitals up in Seattle, got hit not only with ransomware, but also the bad guys took the data and started threatening to call SWAT teams on cancer patients, as if they're not, ransomware people aren't bad enough. Calling SWAT teams on cancer patients are shitty. And they also mentioned in the video that they would like send the cancer patients flowers in some kind of Godfather-like way or something like that. So I don't know. If you worked at a company that got hit with ransomware, would you suggest paying the ransom? I don't know. I think it would be up to what it is you've lost, and is it worth, if you're going to be down and every minute you're down is tens of millions of dollars, but the fine that the government's going to impose upon you is hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah, I would do it, right? Because they're trying to make it illegal to pay off ransomware people. So, but yeah, there was a thought piece that somebody did, an op-ed on that. Won't stop the chaos, but may lead to attacks with more dire consequences. They talked about Colonial Pipeline paying off the crooks in 2021 to prevent further fuel supply issues. Makes sense. That's $1 billion right there, of pipeline not running, every day. A lot of TAs know what the insurance limit is, really incentivizes payment. Well, Age, the only problem I see with that is some insurance companies want to do their due diligence depending on the investigation or the insurance that's going to pay out. If the insurance is going to pay out, $500 million or, hundreds of millions of dollars, that's a legitimate amount of money that an insurance company be like, hey, did you do your due diligence? And if it's like, hey, we have infrastructure that's 20 years old and we haven't patched it and we're using Telnet and three number passwords or something like that to be able to do business, and it's all exposed to the internet. There's a due diligence and a due care that a lot of insurance companies are like, yeah, we're not going to pay. Again, is that the insurance company's fault? The company asking for the money is going to have to take them to court and plead their case, but State Farm's not going to throw out all that money for a company that isn't doing the needful, right? And it makes sense. Why would you give money to somebody already doing some self-destructive behavior? Yeah, and they had 46 hospital breaches, 141 hospitals in with them. 32 of the 46 had patient data stolen, including PHI. Intrusions are causing week-long outages, diverted ambulances, and delayed medical treatment. Such a ban would need to be universal, or else ransom crews will simply focus on victims in other regions that don't prohibit payments. Multi-government cooperation is highly unlikely at best. Yeah, I mean, hospitals are going to do whatever it is they need to do to get back working, right? Another roadblock is lack of maturity across sectors. Exactly. Yeah. Local governments, schools, all of these organizations are underfunded, understaffed. I have a cousin whose husband, so that's cousin-in-law, something like that. He works at a Tennessee school district, and he's the IT guy, the only IT guy, because. And I asked him, because last time I saw him was, well, roughly about this time a year ago during a funeral. And I asked him about his job, and he's like, oh, I love living in the area. So and I was like, well, you're an IT guy. Do you ever have problems finding, people to help? And he's like, no, it's usually, usually I can get somebody new, somebody right out of high school. But he said, the minute I train them up, they can go to the city, to the big city, which would, in that area is probably about 50,000 people, and get a job for 3 times what he would make at a small school system. I mean, we've even talked with April Murdoch, CISO of Seattle Public Schools, who said the exact same thing, and she's in Seattle, right? You train somebody up on IT and system admin, and they can go to an Amazon or something like that as a, L4 and make 125,000 a year, where they can only pay them X number for that. It happens, local governments, and it seems like the answer would be some kind of centralization, like all the department of the state Department of Education for all the states would have a technology fund or technology portal or something. I don't want to say just, because there's reasons why it doesn't work that way. Centralization seems to be like a good idea, but again, there's reasons why that doesn't happen. But yeah, I mean, you're going to continue having these issues as long as schools continue holding that information. And I don't know what the answer is. This op-ed piece, pretty much says that there's a lack of security maturity because understaffed, underfunded. Every time money grubbing miscreants is what I think they call them. Yes, right here. So yeah, I don't know. Move It security hole, yeah, affected millions of individuals. Ransomware crews stole data belonging to the Louisiana Office of Motor Vehicles. So yeah, this is a good op-ed piece. You can go check that out. Let me see what time it is. All right. And then you can go watch the 16-minute video. I believe there's one person, I believe the person on the bottom here, she doesn't have an American, she has an American accent. The rest of them are like, uber British, I think. So, because the reg is based out of, I think, the UK area. So, oh, wait, I had a thing up here. Where was that? Oh, yes. Okay, so I moving right along. Sure, I don't. This makes complete sense with this. So the OpenAI lawsuit's going on with the New York Times, and the discussion is coming out with they have 2 new lawsuits apparently. So the House of Lords in the UK, the OpenAI sent a letter to the House of Lords and said it would be impossible to train their large language models without copyrighted material, because stuff in the stuff in the public domain, it's not modern, right? It's not what everybody would use. So I think we made some jokes on Twitter about, trying to, train a large language model using Shakespearean plays or something like that. And it was like, forsooth, prithee, God's teeth, man, you're an idiot, or something like that. Responses like that. So, yeah. So, what did they say? They have respect and complied with all requirements of copyright laws. They contend that we believe legally copyright law does not forbid training. Forsooth. Yes, exactly. Zounds. By God's hammer or whatever. So yeah, so they say they have introduced tools for creators to stop the company from using or accessing their work, excluding their content from web crawlers. A tool the company uses to scan the internet for data to train their AI, and has created an opt-out process for creators to exclude work from DALL-E training material. What if it goes the other way, right? What if you are an artist and you want them to use, you want OpenAI to use your stuff? Could you have a licensing agreement? Could you say, hey, you can use my stuff, but you pay me for every time OpenAI utilizes the algorithms that make my chibi art, or references my chibi art, or what have you. It feels like they could go in the other direction. Not every artist is going to be like, yeah, I don't want you using my shit. I mean, if Rembrandt was alive, would he, and we've seen that in some AIs where it's like, oh, draw me a picture of a woman on a bike using impressionist art forms, right? They've studied the different masters of art. Is Rembrandt an impressionist? Don't know. It's one of the weak categories of Jeopardy. I'm on impressionist art. Yeah, so if you ask for Starry Night and Impressionist, you're not going to get Starry Night, but you may get something that looks very similar, right? A parody, if you will. And I actually mentioned that on. Let me see, where's my tweeter? I think Lady P. If Lady P's here, Lady P. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're not here. I don't know. Where did I put that in at? There we go. So I said, this is my surprise face. Lady P said, of course, it's impossible. You can't learn anything from them either. That's why fair use exists. She has a good point on that. Let me see, where did I say that? No, that's something else. Anyway, so yeah, I'd have to go. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't understand how fair use or parody lives. But you've seen artists or seen people that have made videos or music that sounds very similar to other folks, or have made fun of other people and been sued, and they go under the parody of the Fair Use Act. Is that what the AI is? I don't know. As I've mentioned, Lady P, it's like you will go to art school, and it's not like you're creating original art. The first however many years you go through art school, you're learning about the techniques of, is that Gauguin? I think it's Gauguin. Dude with no ear. He cut off his ear. You're going to be learning very much. You're going to be watching these people, and you're going to paint. Yeah, that's yeah. Van Gogh. My bad, Van Gogh. See, told you it's not my strongest Jeopardy category. So I mean, you're gonna understand. You're gonna understand art history, what the person was thinking about when they were doing this. You're gonna try to people even draw in the same style as these folks, which is exactly what the AI is doing. And I've tried to have discussions with people who are artists in the traditional sense, that AI is just parody of what this is. If you create a Starry Night, that's what's going to happen. So I don't see any problem with it. It's the same reason that my icon or my logo is AI generated. I don't know who or what style it's borrowed from. I just said I wanted an angry looking lion that was, roaring at somebody. And it generated that. The problem is I can't ever get that back. That's unique. As far as I can tell, I can't recreate that using the same query that I asked for 5 months ago. So I have the original that was generated from Bing image creation, but I'm never going to get that one back. I don't know if it's because I don't know how to format it correctly or I don't remember the query. But in this case, the algorithms gave me what I have, which is, I like it. I think it's great. Beta Wolf and I were looking at some things earlier, and I was like, oh, wow, I can definitely tell it's improved. The Bing image creator has improved since I last looked at it 6 months ago. You can do things like photorealism and what have you. But yeah, here we go. Edge. There we go. So, I was futzing around with some of these things. You've got, photorealistic black backgrounds of an angry blue lion head looking slightly left, roaring in defiance. So, I mean, everything else is, that's, you can see minute imperfections, like, there's a little tooth thing going on there, but I'm like, shit, I was impressed at, some of these, that one's a little weird, but, I'm suitably impressed, and you can do other things like, here's a different stylization. You can actually ask for an icon, every time I hit this again, it comes up a different way. I will never get the one that I asked for, right? This isn't even Midjourney. I tried Midjourney Digital Warhead and I didn't like what I got. So, I tried different versions of these things. I don't like the Brazilian blowout on some of these, but what I was doing with this when I came up with the lion is I would go in, you get different queries. So you get up to like 100 queries until it gets really slow and it slows down. But every time I would get one, I'd be like, oh, this looks nice. So I'd go like, okay, I'm going to save this one. I download it. I can't ever get this back once I've, exited off of this. So, and it appears that my, history of generating things is gone. So I did some with roosters as well, because, here's a metal rooster, an angry metal rooster. So I actually used this. I used Bing Images Create. So it's image creator. And you just, say, you just have, and see, here's this cozy cabin in the woods surrounded by colorful autumn leaves. So it's just different queries that you can do for realistic still life painting. Haunted castle with a dark night in front of it, 1970s fantasy book cover. Who thinks of 1970s fantasy book cover? It's like some of these are really weird looking, but and so, Beta Wolf, I was, hooking Beta Wolf up. I think, where's the one? Oh, there we go. Where's the Happy Wolf one I did? Oh, there it is. Happy Wolf. So I was looking for one with a Happy Wolf because he's Beta Wolf. So I was like, oh, I want a Happy Wolf icon or a Happy Wolf logo or something like that. So it generated a Happy Wolf. So yeah, who reads 1970s fantasy books? Age, right? But yeah, so I was, doing that. And you get some other ones. So, but yeah, I'll post that up. I logged in as myself there, digital, but if you want to poke around with that, just keep in mind, I thought my recents would be around for a long time, and they disappeared on me. So, I actually did what I was supposed to do and made backups, but I would download these, each one. So, it saves it as a 1024 by 1024 JPEG. Which is enough for me for an icon or logo or what have you. And then I just plug that into Canva, and that's how I made my logo. So, and it didn't cost me anything. The last logo we had, which is the one with the blue knight and everything and the sword and everything, cost us $500, and we find out that somebody just used fucking clip art. Which, Dune fans, yes, I love me some Dune. Um, I read the first two Frank Herbert books. Dune Desert. There we go. I'm assuming it's some kind of Dolly version, right? Digital Warhead. Yeah. See, so yeah, I mean, one of the tips is a sunny landscape painting in the style of Van Gogh. So there you go. You could create a starry night in like Van Gogh, that kind of thing. So in the style of Van Gogh. It's alligator with a leather jacket, digital art. Okay, great. I don't understand the queries. I just kind of try to make it do what I want to do, but yeah, it happens. So I'm wondering if it'll actually give me starting. Okay, so that's pretty damn good. That's awesome. That's great. Now, obviously, you have your little watermark down here. Oh, sorry, you have your. Oh wait, scroll. It does have a. There we go. It does have the little watermark down here in the corner, but you can crop that out if you'd like. And I don't make any bones about my logo. It just happens, right? Stock photo women salad. See, I could spend all day on this. I spent hours on this. What I was trying to do was create something that I appealed to me. So, but yeah, some of these, like this one here, this one's not bad. I actually like this one. What I'd probably do is go in and I'd make the eyeballs red or something like that. But yeah, I could download this. Keeping these as I go along. I'd keep one or two of them. This one's kind of an Aslan looking thing, but So I guess I don't have a problem with it because I'm not an artist. If I was an artist and I was worried about somebody taking my art, whatever format it was, and using it without my permission, I'd be Van Gogh, right? I don't hear Van Gogh complaining. Well, he's dead, but it has to train just like an art student would train. You're not going to come in and day one, congratulations, go with God. You're an artist. Let me unhide myself. There we go. It's not like you're an artist. You're going to go in and you're going to paint in the style of you're going to understand why they drew or painted the way they did, the materials they used, why they had the canvas, what was going through their mind at the time. Some of art school, I would imagine, is psychology. What was going on when he did this? Well, he was in the midst of some kind of depression or something, and he cut off his ear, or maybe he mailed it to somebody. I don't know. What were they thinking at the time? What was their inspiration? What is their inspiration? So what is OpenAI's inspiration? Well, it's this dude with this funny hat, that kind of thing. So, it is what it is. Wow. I can talk me some talking, can't I? Where is it? Yeah, Hewlett Packard, $13 billion deal to buy Juniper Networks. It is what it is. Kind of interesting there. Where was it? Okay, so yeah, the only other thing I had here was Free Software Pioneer is saying that open source doesn't work anymore. The licenses don't work anymore. I posted this up to our Slack channel, News of the Day, and there's an op-ed piece about it as well, where he said, to boldly go on, software licenses exist, depend on helping users, and so yeah, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which is actually owned by IBM now, stopped making its source code available as required by the GPL. And it says they're not really Red Hat any longer, they're IBM. They, of course, stopped distributing CentOS. In a long time, they've done something I feel violates GPL. He actually took them to court. His defamation case was about another company doing the exact same thing. They tell you you're a Red Hat Enterprise Linux customer, you can't disclose GPL source for security patches that Red Hat makes because they won't allow you to be a customer anymore. So, it's interesting. And so what comes after open source? So this guy thinks he's got a solution for it. I don't know what that is, but um, might want to take a look at that if you're interested as well. Songtel, Windows Business, here's my card. There you go. Meaning of here's my card. Windows Business, fascinating exploration of identity, purpose, and dichotomy between commercial success and artistic integrity. Yeah, I guess there's a line that has to be drawn with regards to things like AI. It's like, I think, plagiarism is still rampant. The Harvard president just recently was let go because of concerns over plagiarism of things that she might have plagiarized. I don't know if she actually did or not. I don't know the merits of the case. But it was enough that she felt like she needed to, she was a distraction at Harvard and got out. I think there are lines that need to be drawn. I don't know if that's the art side or if that's there's going to be whole books written by AI. So yeah. I wonder, prevalent, defined by. I wonder how well AI could actually create music. That would be interesting. This was better than any press we've ever gotten. Okay. Here's my card by Window Business serves as a nuanced examination of the artist's journey. The use of the bard as a metaphor allows for exploration of themes such as artistic commitment, the tension between success and authenticity, and the power dynamics within the music industry. Through their words and website, the narrator strives to forge a genuine connection with the listener, inviting them to explore a world where artistry and individuality reign supreme and free from the constraints of commercial norms and expectations. Very nice. Very nice. And this is your company, Age? Or this is wait a minute, let me music. Okay. Very cool. Okay. No, I don't know why I'm not hearing this in my ear, but if I'm blasting y'all out, I apologize. I'll have to listen to this later, I guess. Cool. Okay. Alrighty. I'm the Bard. I did a stupid little draw along thing at imthebard.com. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. By the way, Age makes music. So yeah, you posted up some music for. Yeah, there you go. Window.business. Interesting. Oh. Okay. Oh, I've got music. Okay, I can hear me. Sorry, it actually worked on my earbuds, so that's pretty funny. I can't draw, so I'm using a mouse. So if I had my Surface, I could probably draw a bicycle using words. That's kind of cool. That's nice. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm hungry, and I've ran a 5K today, but I would suggest reading some of those articles. There was actually was a good number of usually the reg is hot garbage, but there was several good articles down here on the bottom here where they just flew under the radar of my RSS reader for some reason. So that's where I found the one about the post open source one. But yeah, there's a number of things here. So yeah, meet security standards and no federal dollars for you. Here's another article about hospital security. They'll be required to meet basic cybersecurity standards before receiving federal funding. The interesting thing I'll tell you about the U.S. hospitals not hitting regular funding, I used to do audits for hospitals for meaningful use and high trust, which was when your EMRs, your electronic medical record systems, were needed to do certain things, like attestation, and needed to be able to do an accounting or an audit of whoever touched your medical records. This was back in 2012, which high tech and meaningful use is, I don't know if it's gone or if it's melded into something else. If you didn't pass meaningful use or high trust, you didn't get like Medicare payments from the government or what have you. And there were a lot of hospitals that the company that I worked for, which is now gone, actually, they got acquired by somebody. They did not give a shit. But they did the audits because the year over year, the OCR, Office of Civil Rights, would fine them. Instead of not just withholding the money, they would also fine them. So the OCR started these regular audits that required them to comply. So so Centers for Medical and Services arm of the Department of HHS is drawing up rules connecting hospital IT security with funding, right? So they're going to have to be under yet another audit or another compliance requirement just so they can get money from the government, which will be interesting. Because to them, the money means I spend $100,000 here. I don't have a doctor. The podiatrist has got to go because I need to spend money here. We've got friends in infosec that work. One was a CISO at a hospital system in Atlanta and those things. So there's definitely if we spend here, we don't have operational some things, or like with the school systems, we buy this box, we don't have a teacher, that kind of thing. So it's a toss up. So we're in a very scary Nokia fat forehead phone version of what our future with AI right now. We're playing Snake. Yeah exactly. Age. It's I mean, there's some people who say AI is a death of ideas, that we won't create anything new because AI has already thought of everything. I would argue that people who say Hollywood's out of ideas, they like to repurpose things, but the classics is there's only 36 plot lines. There's only 36 plots. The 36 dramatic situations. So, you're always going to do some variation of the 36 plot lines, if it's drama, right? Man versus nature, man versus man. You're either obtaining, there's a problem, an interrogator. You've got, the setup. You've got the daring enterprise. So the Ocean 11, 12, and 13 movies. You have, love lost. Man finds woman, man loses woman, woman loses woman. That kind of thing. Self-sacrifice, hero. You have the what is it? The monomyth, where like Star Wars, the monomyth. I mean, once you have an AI creating the monomyth, you can plug anybody into the system here. So, you have the Wheel of Time series, complete monomyth right there. If you've ever read those books or listened to them in audiobook, it's the monomyth all over again. The redemption road, the trials, the tribulations. Something bad happens and you're starting all over again. So once AI has that down to a science, you're going to have AI generated scripts for movies. And I think that's where the writer's strike and everything was going, where it's like the studios were like, yeah, AI is going to create a bunch of shit. And then you're just going to, fix the T's and dot the I's and whatever. And the writers were like, no, we have original ideas that we're going to publish, and we're not going to be somebody's, type editor or what have you. So anyway, I'm starting to lose people. So, but yeah, it's just interesting where that's going. And that's what the recent strikes were for, AI creating, likenesses of folks like Peter Cushing in the Star Wars saga, or what's her name? Princess Leia. They had to create one of her as younger person, but then they also, we're going to see more of that, where it's like, we're gonna need to de-age people. So we're going to have computers or AI that's going to be able to do that. We may even have an AI star eventually. There was a movie about that. So yeah. So all right. Well, gentlemen, ladies, people, I'm going to go. I'm going to try to be back Friday. We'll do some Yara stuff. I don't know how far we'll get with that, to be honest, but I'm interested in seeing where that goes, and I hope that my take on AI is not off-putting to people. I do believe I like artists. I have friends who are artists. I want them to continue to be productive, make music, make things. I actually think the future is going to be where it's like AI is going to make things that are like stale bread, and then you're still going to have your chef who's going to be able to create bread, and it's going to be like the difference between going to the store and buying Wonder Bread and having piping hot bread coming out of your oven. There's a visceral reaction for me when I see bread coming out of the oven, the smell of it when it's hot and when it's just fresh out of the oven, versus the stale shit or the shit that we get from the the pre-packaged processed factory bread. It's not the same as those, and that's for me. For me, AI is supermarket bread versus an original piece of loaf of bread. And so I always think that this is still going to have a place. It's always, and may even be more valuable in the long run. Plumbers, people who make things and do things are still going to be very valuable in the world to come. So anyway, cool. Hope everyone has a great day. I'll see y'all on Friday. Take care of yourselves, and let's see who's online. Actually, let's see, Twitch TV. I actually followed the kids that broke Tetris the other day. That was okay. There's some. Okay, so I'm gonna have to stop going to Twitch. Just Devon, yeah, cool. Raid my friend Just Devon. I actually asked him about some rebranding stuff just recently, so I want to go ahead and raid him. But yeah, anyway, y'all have a good day. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you all very soon. Bye, everybody.